News Special Report.
You are looking at a live picture from the South Lawn of the White House. We're waiting for President Obama to come out and make a statement following last night's bombing of ISIS targets inside Syria. That is the first time that we will have seen that kind of action there. And we understand that the United States was joined by Arab coalition forces from 5 different countries. From Fox News World Headquarters, I'm Harris Faulkner in New York. Again, I mentioned this is the first time we've seen those airstrikes in Syria and what is said to be a long period of possible military action against ISIS and also other terror groups that we're learning about as the days go on. There's particularly one terror group that the president is likely to talk about in his short statement coming up that had set sights on American targets here at home, and the threat thought to be imminent. So they are taking it to that group. Khorasan is their name, along with ISIS targets. We understand that there were 22 airstrikes overnight, the bulk of them in Syria against ISIS, also some in Iraq. Now let's talk about those 5 countries that I mentioned. They are Bahrain, the United Emirates, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. You see there on the map. We don't have exact details on how much firepower they might have helped in terms of from the air last night, but we know at least some bases were offered up to our guys to be able to fight this. We're also joined in this by some European forces. You know, France has been fighting ISIS with us for some time now. The president making his way to the lectern, we can see that on the South Lawn. He is expected to leave shortly for New York for the United Nations General Assembly meeting that's taking place. So this will not be long. And now the president.
Good morning, everybody. Last night, on my orders, America's armed forces began strikes against ISIL targets in Syria. Today, the American people give thanks for the extraordinary service of our men and women in uniform, including the pilots who flew these missions with the courage and professionalism that we've come to expect from the finest military that the world's ever known. Earlier this month, I outlined for the American people our strategy to confront the threat posed by the terrorist group known as ISIL. I made clear that as part of this campaign, the United States would take action against targets in both Iraq and Syria, so that these terrorists can't find safe haven anywhere. I also made clear that America would act as part of a broad coalition, and that's exactly what we've done. We were joined in this action by our friends and partners, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Bahrain, and Qatar. America is proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with these nations on behalf of our common security. The strength of this coalition makes it clear to the world that this is not America's fight alone. Above all, the people and governments of the Middle East are rejecting ISIL and standing up for the peace and security that the people of the region and the world deserve. Meanwhile, we will move forward with our plan supported by bipartisan majorities in Congress to ramp up our effort to train and equip the Syrian opposition, who are the best counterweight to ISIL and the Assad regime. And more broadly, over 40 nations have offered to help in this comprehensive effort to confront this terrorist threat, to take out terrorist targets, to train and equip Iraqi and Syrian opposition fighters who are going up against ISIL on the ground, to cut off ISIL's financing, to counter its hateful ideology, and to stop the flow of fighters into and out of the region. Last night, we also took strikes to disrupt plotting against the United States and our allies by seasoned al-Qaeda operatives in Syria who are known as the Khorasan Group. And once again, it must be clear to anyone who would plot against America and try to do Americans harm that we will not tolerate safe havens for terrorists who threaten our people. I've spoken to leaders in Congress, and I'm pleased that there is bipartisan support for the actions that we're taking. America is always stronger when we stand united, and that unity sends a powerful message to the world that we will do what's necessary to defend our country. Over the next several days, I will have the opportunity to meet with Prime Minister Abadi of Iraq and with friends and allies at the United Nations to continue to building support for the coalition that is confronting this serious threat to our peace and security. The overall effort will take time. There will be challenges ahead, but we're going to do what's necessary to take the fight to this terrorist group. for the security of the country and the region and for the entire world. Thanks. God bless our troops. God bless America.
Mr. President,
and so you saw the president there laying out a little bit of the course ahead, but specifically talking about what happened last night in the Middle East with our forces, as you heard him say, taking it to the terrorists who are threatening our nation right now. He did remind us that he had said before these terrorists will find no safe haven anywhere. But this is brand new, this ramping up inside now the country next door to Iraq, Syria, where pretty much those ISIS terrorists have erased the border. And where other groups are now festering, where they are growing, this new group, Khorasan, as I was mentioning before the president spoke, has talked about taking direct hits on America here at home. So have no doubt about it. Not only are our air forces hitting ISIS terrorists, but they're also hitting targets of this Khorasan group as well. What the president did not mention in specifics is how these other countries, these 5 Arab countries, are going to begin taking part over the course of time. So will this just be an initial hit from last night? Will they take part in future airstrikes? And what will their role be? As we've known all along, their cooperation with us is necessary in that region. And the terrorists have already said with this group ISIS that they want an Islamic State, a caliphate, if you will, where they would take hold of different countries. So those countries that are closest to Iraq and Syria definitely have imminent, if you will, threats against them. In fact, Jordan's already been fighting them on their border. So we are following this. If news is made outside of the president's visit to the United Nations and the General Assembly that's kicked off already for this week, as he lands, because he's departing now, as he lands here in New York, if news is made again on the subject, you know that we'll bring it to you right here on this Fox station. And please stay tuned also to Fox News Channel and foxnews.com, your alternate news sources, for all the coverage of this story and all the day's breaking news. Again, anytime online, foxnews.com. I'm Harris Faulkner in New York. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
This has been a Fox News Special Report.
On Twitter if you want to play along at home.
I think that it is some kind of book or a plaque that says something on it, wrapped very well in that wrapping paper that you use. We'll use Greg Tacchio's trusty
What does
knife.
it say on the back? Open.
Oh, open this side.
Open other end.
Oh, there we go.
Maybe
Open
we
this
shouldn't
side.
have been shaking it like that.
All right, everybody stand back. I'm wielding a knife.
By the way,
right.
while he's doing this, can I tell you that I went home yesterday and I look out the window
This is not a sharp knife.
and I'm like, what in the world is that in the pool?
And?
I walk down there,
Chipmunk?
a large salamander.
No.
Spotted, like a
Wow.
leopard spotted salamander, and it was like this big.
Wait, how did it get in the pool?
I don't know. I think we have
Jesus, Stanley,
a branch
how'd
of
you
the
wrap
Rouge
this
River
bad
behind
boy?
our house.